We all think Peter Parker is finally free now that the world has forgotten him, but in reality, he's never been more trapped. By the end of this video, you'll realize that the fresh start at the end of No Way Home didn't just leave Peter broke. It unknowingly handed his entire life over to the one man who can dismantle it without throwing a single punch: Wilson Fisk. The end of the Home trilogy was supposed to be a sacrifice. Right, Peter loses May, loses his friends, loses his identity to save the multiverse. It's the ultimate hero's journey reset. But here's the problem. Peter Parker is now a ghost. No social security number that matches his face, no high school diploma, and most importantly, no money in a city like New York. Being a ghost doesn't make you safe. It makes you a target for the person who actually runs the shadows of the bureaucracy. Yeah, how can Kingpin control someone who technically doesn't exist? And what is the moral debt Peter is about to incur that outweighs any financial struggle? You see, in the comics, specifically during the Back in Black and Civil War eras, we see what happens when Fisk gets a sense of Peter's vulnerability. But in the MCU, Fisk isn't just a mob boss anymore, he's potentially Mayor Fisk, and that changes everything. Let's look at the psychology here. Peter is driven by guilt. He's living in a rundown apartment, sewing his own suits and trying to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But this is where things change, and it starts with a simple medical bill or a rent check. In a city under Mayor Fisk's anti-vigilante act, being Spider-Man isn't just dangerous, it's expensive. Every time Peter stops a mugging, he's breaking a law that Fisk likely wrote. If Peter gets hurt and he will get hurt, where does he go? He can't go to the Avengers. He can't go to Stark Industries. What if the debt isn't money? What if the debt is permission? Imagine a scenario where Spider-Man is cornered, not by a supervillain, but by the law. Fisk offers him a deal. I'll clear your name. I'll give you a life. I'll provide the resources you need to actually save people. If you just look the other way on certain shipments. This is the psychological trap. Peter's identity, his very soul, is built on responsibility. If Fisk frames the deal as helping the city, Peter's internal conflict begins to rot him from the inside out. In Daredevil Born Again, we see how Fisk operates. He doesn't just kill you, he consumes your environment. As Peter starts his next trilogy, he's going to be desperate. He's going to see the city crumbling under New York's new leadership. But here's the real problem. Kingpin knows how to play the hero better than Peter does right now. But it gets worse because every time Peter accepts a win facilitated by Fisk's resources, the invisible leash tightens. In the comics, we call this the Kingpin's tithe. You don't realize you're paying it until you've already lost your soul. Everything we thought about Peter being untraceable is wrong. Fisk doesn't need to know Peter is Peter Parker to ruin him. He just needs to control the environment Spider-Man breathes in. The midpoint twist: the debt isn't something Peter owes to Fisk. The debt is what Peter feels he owes to New York. Fisk is going to position himself the only person capable of saving the city from the chaos of the multiverse's aftermath. If Spider-Man fights Fisk, he's fighting the man who is publicly feeding the hungry and cleaning the streets. Peter becomes the villain in the public eye. The debt is Peter's reputation. How do you fight a man who has made himself essential to the people you're sworn to protect? This is where the tragedy hits. In the next trilogy, we aren't just going to see physical battles. We are going to see a moral collapse. Fisk is a master of the curiosity gap. He'll dangle the why in front of Peter. Why am I helping you? Why am I letting you operate? Emotional peak: the moment Peter realizes that by accepting Fisk's truce to stop a bigger threat, say a street-level symbiote or a gang war, he has effectively become a soldier in Fisk's army. Think about the guilt. Peter Parker, the boy who was told with great power comes great responsibility, is now using his power to inadvertently maintain the power of a tyrant. And this is the real problem for the MCU. If Peter is indebted to Fisk, he can't ever truly be an Avenger again. He's grounded. He's trapped in the mud of New York politics. The friendly neighborhood becomes a cage. The deeper message here isn't about a punch-out at the end of the movie. It's about the loss of innocence. The first trilogy was about Peter learning to be a hero. The second trilogy, the Kingpin trilogy, will be about Peter learning that being a hero often means losing your hands to the dirt. Spider-Man's debt to Kingpin is the realization that you can't save everyone without making a deal with the devil. And in the MCU, the devil wears a white suit and sits in the mayor's office. Peter Parker is at his best when he has nothing, but in the MCU, nothing makes you easy to own. If Kingpin controls the narrative, he controls the spider. Do you think Peter will actually be forced to work for Fisk in Spider-Man 4? Or will he find a way to stay clean? Let me know in the comments. I'm replying to the best theories. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark future of the MCU, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're doing a giveaway for a limited edition Spider-Man comic once we hit the next milestone. Thanks for watching.